A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
someone you can bond with, and with real experience.
That is who.
Police to reinstate former senior police officer DSP Tejada following her wrongful dismissal from the police service some 5 years ago. The court, presided over by Justice Tejada, also ordered that Tejada be given all salaries and promotions since August 2012. Watching us from Tamale in the northern region. If you're watching us from Sunyani in the Bonafo region, and if you are with us from Kufodia in the eastern region, this is your show. Let's start with a big one. And the big story of the day, an Accra Human Rights Court has ordered the Inspector General of Police to reinstate former senior police officer DSP Tejada following her wrongful dismissal from the police service some 5 years ago. The court, presided over by Justice Tejada, also ordered that Tejada be given all salaries and promotions since August 2012.
Delivering the judgment, Justice Tejada noted that, in the view of the court, DSP Tejada was unlawfully detained by the Bureau of National Investigations (BNI) in 2012 after she was picked up following the cocaine-turned baking soda saga at the police headquarters. The judge also held that the police breached the rule of natural justice for a fair hearing, as DSP Tejada was not given an opportunity to be heard during the service inquiry by the police leading to her dismissal. The court therefore ordered that Tejada be given all salaries and promotions since her wrongful dismissal in August 2012. She is also to receive 23,000 cedis as compensation. This is made up of 10,000 cedis as general damages and 8,000 as the cost against the Ghana Police Service and the Attorney General, while the BNI is to pay 5,000 as damages to DSP Tejada for wrongful detention. The case involving DSP Tejada began on September 27, 2011, when one Nanama Martins was arrested for possessing large parcels of cocaine. It was later detected that the cocaine in police custody had been exchanged for baking soda. DSP Tejada was linked to the disappearance of the cocaine and was indicted and later dismissed from the police service, an action that forced her to seek justice from the Human Rights Division of the High Court. She was then the deputy commander in charge of the Commercial Crimes Unit.
Right, and that long case there ending, and DSP Tejada had earlier spoken to colleague Pakushi Osari on the ruling of a court.
Begin with, how do you feel about the ruling?
I feel happy. I'm full of excitement. And I thank God for that.
Some have wondered, looking back at the whole trial since 2012, if you'll be able to return to the police service, looking at all that's happened over the years.
Yes, some have really wondered. But the reality is that whatever God has ordained, no human being can set it aside.
Are you bitter?
I am not bitter. I am not bitter.
Do you still have that loyalty towards the Ghana Police Service?
Oh yes, I love the profession, the job, and I love doing police work.
Do you feel you've been a victim of circumstances?
Yes.
Do you feel you've been victimized in any way?
Yes.
Do you feel you've been victimized?
Yes.
So again, you know, you threatened to mention some names if you were pushed in this whole trial. Will you go ahead to mention these names?
No. Initially, the BNI started the investigations, and they investigated the case, and they will be the best people to come out with names. And then what I did also was to petition the president, the ex-president, President Mahama. And those petitions the police was asked to set a committee to look into my petition. And they also did their investigations. I remember a David Ampabeni committee, and they have also put together their report, but I have not seen any report. So whatever they found or their findings, will be in that report, and they will be the best people to come out with what they have found out.
Again, some have said that you should be counting yourself lucky for having been reinstated. What would you say to such people? Yes,
that is exactly what it should be, because I am totally innocent of the allegation leveled against me. And thank God, at the end of the day, I have been vindicated.
So you've been purged of all the charges, the criminal charges, and all that was leveled against you. You've been asked to be reinstated. All promotions due you since then should be granted you. What are your final words?
My final words are that I thank God the Almighty for bringing this day to pass. And I am so happy that I am alive to see this day, because I've been praying for the truth to come out, where I'll be vindicated, so that those who, had the fear that it was not going to be possible for me to go back to work, God has really been faithful, and he has proved himself.
Right, Gifty Tejada there talking to colleague Parkwisi Asari earlier on News 360. We'll tell you more about that developing story later on. We're trying hard to speak to the chief psychiatrist and the chief executive of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akwesi, on what she might have gone through in all these years from 2012, when she was dismissed wrongfully, decided by the court in 2012, and what has been her challenges. We'll get to Dr. Osei and tell you more about that when we're able to establish the link. But stay with us right here on News at 10. There is more coming up. That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are. A news anchor with style
and professionalism
Must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to.
Someone you can bond with.
and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are. A news anchor with style
and professionalism.
Must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to.
Someone you can bond with.
and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are. A news anchor with style
and professionalism.
Must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to.
Someone you can bond with.
and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are. A news anchor with style
and professionalism.
Must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to.
Someone you can bond with.
and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are.
All right, grateful for your time there. Now, let's go back to our earlier story on the DSP Gifty Tejada and speak to Dr. Akwesi, the chief psychiatrist on what perhaps can be done for her psychologically. Dr. Osei, grateful for your time tonight. All right, we're still trying hard to reach Dr. Akwesi Osei, and if we're able to establish that link, we will talk to him about DSP Gifty Tejada's issue. Dr. Osei, grateful for your time tonight.
You're welcome.
Right, so let's start from here. Such a person who's gone through this long, tortuous journey in court from 2012, psychologically, what might have gone wrong with her, and how can she be supported to get back her normal life?
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished viewers. Well, I think it largely depends on her attitude towards the whole picture, her own sense of innocence about the film, what she's gone through. Now, for somebody who, if she felt she was innocent and she's been taken through this, she could then be hoping that she will be exonerated in due course. She could then be calm, hoping that a day of exoneration would come. Such a person would be relaxed and just wait for the day of exoneration. On the other hand, if she has no assurance or certainty of justice being done, then she could be apprehensive, and then she will be actually traumatized. And eventually, when the exoneration comes, she would even be wondering what really happened. So in other words, I'm trying to say that it depends on how she herself felt about the whole issue, her innocence or otherwise, and her expectations of the outcome. That would adequately inform how she would accept it, or how she would keep herself in calmness towards the day of exoneration.
I see. And would you recommend some kind of support?
It would be good it would be good to evaluate and see how she can be supported. But again, as I said, it depends on the knowledge of her. I don't know her in person, and but it would be good for her to go through some counseling support. If she's been traumatized, as I said, based on her own appreciation of the issues, if she's been traumatized, it would certainly be good to counsel her before she even enters a new role. That kind of support will be very important.
I see. And such a person getting into her new role based on what has happened to her, psychologically, how can she function and function well? What does she need to do?
Now, if she's counseled, and especially experienced police lady, I believe that she is, if she is counseled for her to recognize that these are the vicissitudes, the hardships you can go through, that support will be enough for her to be able to prepare herself adequately to accept any new role. So the counseling will do, but again, it depends on her background, what she's been through in the previous episodes in her life, in her profession, and her own appreciation of the nature of the job. That will be determined to a large extent. But counseling will bring all these issues out so that whoever is doing the counseling would sufficiently get to know her background and therefore the level of counseling and support to give her.
I see. I'm grateful, Dr. Akwesi Osei, for your time tonight. Dr. Akwesi Osei is the chief psychiatrist talking to me about DSP Gifty Tejada, who has been asked by the court to be reinstated back into Ghana Police Service. That's a developing story. We'll tell you more about that. Now, let's shift focus now. Ghana has since 2011 generated over $3 billion in oil revenue. These revenues over the last 4 years have become a key component of Ghana's annual budget. Now, the annual budget funding amount, that's the ABFA, Heritage Fund, and the Stabilization Fund were created as part of government guidelines for revenue distribution and investments. The objectives of the ABFA are to maximize the rate of economic development, ensure equality of economic opportunity, and to undertake even and balanced development of the regions. However, Send Ghana, with the support of Oxfam America, tracked the implementation of the 5 ABFA-funded projects in the agriculture and education sectors. We're told that the study assessed the implementation of the projects regarding funds transfers, project governance, and the social benefit to targeted communities. Now, the purpose was to collect evidence and motivate grassroots to constructively engage duty bearers for improved management of these resources. And that's what we're going to talk about and see exactly how these funds have supported these sectors, agriculture and education, and had quickened or sped up Ghana's development. My guest, Pascal Kudiabo, is a communications officer at St. Ghana. Pascal, good evening, and grateful for your time tonight.
Thank you.
So it was done, or the survey or the research was done in the agriculture and then the educational sectors. First of all, what were the findings?
Well, we realized that transfer to districts, of course, were not flowing. We also,
for these two sectors, agri and education.
Yes. What Africa Center for Energy Policy did some work highlighting projects that have been funded by the ABFA. We decided to pick just 5 of these projects in
Only 5?
Yes, in 5 districts. We looked at 2 dams related to agriculture. We looked at 3 school infrastructure relating to education. And we went to the ground in these districts to look at whether the communities in which these schools and dams that are supposed to have been built benefited them, whether they were involved, whether money flowed, timely from the Ministry of Finance to them. So the districts are Tolon. We looked at a school block in Tolon, Nafarong. That's a community. We also looked at the Duri Dam in Jirapa. We looked at a school block also in Savulugu. We looked at a school block in Wa West, and we looked at another dam, the Kuri Dam in Busa North. Right, I can tell you that the Duri Dam at Jirapa some years back was built, and with support from the Japanese or Japan's government.
Right.
Then after some years, we needed to rehabilitate the dam. We know that more than half of the population of Ghanaians are into agriculture sector, so it's a key area for us and for providing jobs. Now, after using this dam for some time, we needed to rehabilitate it. And so oil money was earmarked for that project, for the rehabilitation. Now, we went to the finance ministry to find out. We were told that the work is going on. We went to the field, and when you go there today, there is actually nothing on the ground.
So on paper, the money is there to have been sent to the project.
Yes.
But when you go to the project, there's virtually nothing going on.
And one interesting thing is that a little over, that is 52,000 Ghana, was advanced towards the rehabilitation. I think when the contract was awarded and they started work, now Ghana Highways Authority came in to say that part of the wall of the dam forms part of their contract to construct a road. And because of this, they had to stop. They didn't even start. This raises the issue of
intersectorial collaboration.
And this is a worry.
Okay, let me come in. So it is not that the money isn't there, but other agencies have issues with the projects.
Yes.
In fact, this particular project.
But one issue we are raising here is that you should have followed to find out whether the money is being put to good use. You can't throw 52,000 Ghana cedi away like that.
We're able to find out where that money was.
And that is another issue we have to talk about. We are not getting full details of these contracts from the finance ministry. So you realize that in our report, we raise issue with getting enough information on these projects. Because when you go to the field, they will tell you that this is part of the ABFA. But in actual fact, you find out that other sources are rather taking care of the project.
Instead of the ABFA funding.
Yes. And we also looked at the Kuri Dam in Busa North. As for that, the procurement process is what we have issues with. The community members were not involved. And so they were just there, and then people came saying that they got contract from Accra to come and work on the dam. And this is what we are talking about. The concept of decentralization should work. We should allow it to be functional. We should allow the districts to manage the projects. We should have citizens getting interested in the projects that are meant for them. We are saying that oil will not be here forever. We should make good use of our oil revenue. We should have visible signs of what the oil revenue or the discovery of oil has done for us. We shouldn't just be spreading it thinly. And in spreading thinly, we experience possible leakages. And that's what our findings are exposing, that there is not much monitoring of these projects, and citizens are not involved. Release of money to contractors are not done very fast for them to work. Yeah.
Where do we fix the blame? Squarely at the doorsteps of the finance ministry or perhaps the local authorities there?
I think we do know that every 3 years the finance minister is mandated by law to set out the priority areas for the spending of this money. Now, there is an aspect of the priority that we have an issue with. We have the expenditure and amortization, we have roads and other infrastructure, we have agric modernization, we have capacity building. The road and other infrastructure is where we have issue with.
I see.
When you capture something under other infrastructure, then you have so much space to spend or hide behind this phrase and spend loosely. We are saying that if it is agriculture we want to tackle in this country, we should spend our oil money in reviving the sector. To provide the needed jobs for our people. If it is education we want to tackle, let's use the money to fix our education problems. If it is energy we want to tackle, let's use the money to fix our energy problem. This is our focus. But if you say that roads and other infrastructure, of course, you would do other things and capture it as other infrastructure. And so it becomes difficult to trace exactly what we've been able to use our oil revenue to do.
So monitoring is key here?
It's key.
And do you think that the current government setting up a ministry, a minister at the presidency in charge of monitoring and evaluation will in a way be able to deal with this?
Yes, I think that, you know, every ministry has its monitoring and evaluation department.
Right.
If it is strengthened, because the minister cannot go to the ground to do the work alone. He would need assistance of all these people. And so, yes, setting up of that ministry is not bad. But if the department of monitoring and evaluation in these ministries are strengthened and resourced well to be able to carry out their duty, I think that we'll be able to monitor the flow of this money and we'll be able to realize the purpose for which we are setting aside this fund.
Pascal, I'm grateful for your time tonight. Pascal Kudiabo is a communication officer at St. Ghana. This is a development story. We'll tell you more about that later on. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Let's again shift focus. The Ghana National Association of Teachers is pleading with government to facilitate the payment of the 80-month arrears on the second-year pension scheme. The association is of the view this would enhance the lump sum for their members when they retire in 2020.
Government has set up a technical team to discuss the payment of the 80 months arrears. The technical team is also tasked with discussing a 3% penalty to be paid by government for delaying the transfer of the funds within 14 days. However, as at October 2016, some transfers have been done for the various registered schemes. For the Ghana Education Register Scheme, as of October, its fund managers have received 88 million cedis to be invested for contributors. Head of Conditions of Service for NAT, Ahina Kwakwashi, asked government to facilitate discussion on the second tier for investment for contributors.
That is part of the discussion that we are currently engaging the MPRA on. But first and foremost, what we need is the money itself. Once we have the money plus the interest accruing, then going forward, we will also talk about the penalty.
Meanwhile, Pension Alliance Trust has organized a sensitization workshop to collect data from teachers in Greater Accra for their contributions. The trust has visited 8 regions to conduct the exercise that facilitates its operations in putting the data for the teachers. Dela Zumenu is the Chief Executive Officer of Pensions Alliance Trust Limited.
I'll call it excitement because people are asking questions that we didn't even think about. These are questions that are day-to-day questions about how schemes are managed and how they get their benefits paid and what is in it for them. So for us, it's been an eye-opener experience for us, and it's exciting to be going around this whole country and interfacing with the very ordinary people, the very end of the chain. These are the people's pensions we are dealing with.
And a deputy minority leader has called on government to ensure fiscal discipline in achieving its macroeconomic targets. James Kluche-Aveji was of the view fiscal discipline will also reduce loopholes in the public financial system.
James Kluche-Aveji was speaking at a forum organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana in Accra. The deputy minority leader emphasized that previous government borrowing were used to finance projects. He underscored road construction and other key government projects which he believed helped. Although he agreed the public debt increased in 2016, the deputy minority leader called on the current administration to ensure fiscal discipline.
Government plan to increase the total revenue from 34.3 billion to 44.9 billion. About 33%, 32.5% increase. If that is done to be a good news, if we can increase our revenue by 33.5%, that will be a good news.
Chairman of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, Joe Windfall, was worried about excess borrowings of the previous government. He charged government to tighten its fiscal discipline.
I know that we are talking about revenue mobilization. But I'm sure if we were to examine our cost maker, we'll realize that the savings there will be so much, because the ultimate will be how best to start strategizing to be able to manage our affairs on a balanced scale.
A council member for the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana urged government to ensure that interest rates and city depreciations are addressed.
And of course, we're grateful that you stayed there to be part of a show tonight. Those of you who watched us from across the country and beyond, thanks so much for staying there. And of course, to our technical guys in here, Nana Waji, Stephen Nete, and Johnson, my cameramen, Emmanuel Clotte and Bernard Hanzi, my son Ben Mensah, Albert Mensah, and Munuri, those technical guys behind the show. The whole show was put together by Daniel Opoku. Studio director Richard Bruce Lamte made sure everything was right. My name is Bright Nanafa. Have a great night, but stay right here on TV3. Good night.